The twin stars of Lumisar cast their ethereal glow through the crystal dome of the Forgotten Temple, painting shadows across the ancient stones. Nyara pressed herself deeper into the alcove where she had hidden for nearly a decade, her violet skin shimmering slightly in response to the stellar radiation. She adjusted the white ceremonial garment that clung to her form, the last vestige of her former life as a stellar priestess. Her luminous amber eyes fixed on the pulsing stars above. The larger one, Vila, burned crimson against the night sky, while its smaller companion, Myra, glowed with an intense blue light. Together, they bathed the temple in a purple radiance that made her skin tingle with forbidden awareness. Control, she whispered to herself, repeating the mantra of her people. Purity through control. The Lumisari believed that the twin stars' energy triggered base desires, evolutionary remnants from before they had achieved their higher consciousness. Those who couldn't resist were considered corrupt, cast out from society. Nyara had fled before they could exile her, sensing her growing inability to suppress the feelings that arose with each stellar alignment. A crash echoed through the temple, followed by a distinctly non-Lumisari curse. Nyara froze, her heartbeat accelerating. No one had discovered this place in years. Hello, the voice was deep, unfamiliar. Anyone here sorry about the vase thing? Nyara remained silent, watching as a figure emerged from the shadows. He was clearly human. She had studied their kind during her scientific training. He stood taller than the average Lumisari male, with broad shoulders and a confident stride despite his obvious disorientation. His skin was tan, weathered by what she assumed were his travels, and his dark hair fell in unruly waves around a face with strong features. I know someone's here, he called out. I saw movement. When she didn't respond, he sighed and set down his pack. Look, I'm Dominic Reed, xenobiologist from Earth. My transport got caught in the magnetic storm and crashed about 3 kilometers east. I'm not here to cause trouble, just need shelter until rescue arrives. Nyara calculated her options. She could remain hidden, but he would eventually find her. The temple wasn't large enough to conceal her presence for long. This place is forbidden, she finally said, stepping from the shadows. You must leave. Dominic turned toward her voice, and his expression shifted from surprise to awe. His eyes, an unusual green color, widened as they took in her appearance. You're Lumisari, he breathed. I've only seen your kind in research hollows. Nyara kept her distance. How do you know of my people? Earth has been trying to establish diplomatic relations for years, but your government refuses all contact. He took a careful step forward. I'm a scientist studying comparative planetary ecosystems. I never expected to actually meet one of you. Before Nyara could respond, the ground trembled beneath them. The stellar alignment was approaching its peak, the most dangerous time for her. The vibrations caused Dominic to stumble forward, his hand instinctively reaching out to steady himself against an ancient panel. The temple responded immediately. Dormant circuits illuminated in the walls, and the crystal dome overhead shifted its panels, perfectly aligning with the twin stars. Suddenly, the entire chamber was flooded with concentrated starlight. No, Nyara gasped as the light enveloped her body. What have you done? The intensified starlight penetrated Nyara's skin, awakening the cellular memory her people had tried so desperately to suppress. She fell to her knees, her amber eyes glowing brighter as the radiation coursed through her veins like liquid fire. What's happening? Dominic rushed toward her, concern etched across his face. Are you hurt? Stay back, she commanded, her voice resonating with a harmonic quality that hadn't been present before. The alignment chamber, you've activated it. Dominic froze, watching as luminescent patterns emerged across Nyara's violet skin, intricate swirls that pulsed in rhythm with the twin stars above. I don't understand. What is this place really? It's a resonance temple, she managed between shuddering breaths. Before my people rejected their connection to the stars these chambers were used to embrace the stellar energy. The room continued to hum with power as the crystal panels refracted the starlight into specific patterns across the chamber floor. Nyara could feel the walls she had built within herself beginning to crumble. Years of suppression threatened to collapse in moments. "How do I turn it off?" Dominic asked, scanning the glowing panels. "You can't," Nyara whispered. "Not until the alignment passes. The ancient systems are beyond our control now." She looked up at him, vulnerability and something deeper flickering in her eyes. The ceremonial white garment she wore began to shimmer, responding to the energy field like everything else in the temple. Dominic removed his outer jacket and gently draped it around her shoulders, careful not to make direct contact with her glowing skin. "I'm sorry, I had no idea." The simple act of compassion caught Nyara off guard. Among her people, anyone showing signs of stellar resonance would be immediately isolated, feared as a potential revert to their primal state. Yet this human showed no disgust or fear, only concern. "My name is Nyara," she finally offered, pulling his jacket tighter around herself. "I was once a stellar priestess before." Before what?" "Before I began to question our ways." She looked up at the twin stars. "My people believe that the radiation from Vila and Myra awakens dangerous impulses, desires, and emotions that threaten our evolved state. We're taught to shield ourselves to resist. Those who can't are considered corrupted." Dominic sat down beside her, maintaining a respectful distance. "And that's why you're hiding here, because you couldn't resist." "Because I chose not to," she corrected, a hint of defiance in her voice. "I began to suspect our leaders were lying about our true nature, using fear to control us. The stellar energy doesn't corrupt, it reveals." The light pulsed more intensely as the alignment reached its zenith. Nyara closed her eyes, her breathing becoming more controlled despite the energy flowing through her. "Will you be all right?" Dominic asked softly. When she opened her eyes again, they held a new clarity. "I don't know, no one has activated an alignment chamber in centuries, but perhaps this is what I've been waiting for." She studied his face with newfound curiosity. "Perhaps you are what I've been waiting for." As the starlight bathed them both, Dominic realized that his instruments were recording unprecedented energy readings. Whatever was happening in this ancient temple wasn't just affecting Nyara, it was changing something fundamental about the temple itself, awakening systems dormant for generations. And somehow he knew their futures had just become irrevocably intertwined. The twin stars gradually shifted their alignment, and the intense glow within the temple dimmed to a soft pulse. Nyara's luminescent skin patterns faded, though a subtle iridescence remained. She carefully removed Dominic's jacket and returned it with a nod of gratitude. "The worst has passed," she said, her voice steadier now. "The full alignment occurs only once every 63 days." Dominic checked his scanning device. "The energy readings were off the charts. Your physiology, it's actually changed at the cellular level." "The resonance awakens dormant genetic pathways," Nyara explained, rising gracefully to her feet. "Our ancestors once embraced this connection before the Great Suppression." She moved toward an ancient basin where clear liquid had collected from a hidden spring. As she dipped her hands into the water, it took on a slight glow where it touched her skin. 3 centuries ago, a faction of scientists claimed the stellar radiation was dangerous, that it triggered primitive instincts that threatened our advancement as a species. They developed technologies to shield our cities and implemented strict protocols to avoid exposure. Dominic approached the basin, fascinated by the bioluminescent reaction. "But you don't believe that's true." "I studied our oldest texts before they were locked away," she said, drying her hands on her white garment. "I found evidence that our connection to the stars was once celebrated, not feared. The resonance was considered a gift, a cosmic symbiosis unique to our world. And that's why you're here, to reconnect with that heritage. Nyara's amber eyes met his. I came here to hide Dominic. I was beginning to show signs of resonance even through the city shields. Rather than face purification, I fled. Purification, the word made him uneasy. A process to eliminate the cellular memory of stellar connection. Her expression darkened. Many don't survive it. Dominic processed this information, comparing it with the limited data Earth had gathered about the reclusive Lumisari. Your government claims perfect harmony through rational thought, a society that's transcended base emotions. A lie maintained through fear and control, Nyara said bitterly. What you've witnessed today would be considered heresy. The temple trembled slightly, dust falling from ancient carvings. Dominic's instruments beeped urgently. The temple's systems are still active, he observed. Whatever you activated is spreading throughout the structure. Nyara moved swiftly to a wall covered in faded symbols. These are awakening too. I've studied them for years, but parts were always dormant. Her fingers traced the glowing patterns. They tell of a time when humans and Lumisari would meet under the twin stars. Dominic joined her, his scientific curiosity fully engaged. Can you translate it? When worlds collide beneath the gaze of Vila and Myra, ancient bonds will reform, she read, her finger following the illuminated text. The resonance carrier and the stellar catalyst will, she stopped abruptly. Will what? Nyara turned to him, her expression a mixture of wonder and apprehension. Will break the chains of false evolution and restore the cosmic dance. Something shifted between them, an unspoken recognition. Dominic felt a strange warmth spreading through his chest, an inexplicable pull toward this alien woman he'd just met. There's more, she continued, moving to another panel. It speaks of physiological compatibility between our species, something my people have vehemently denied. Is that why Earth's diplomatic missions have been rejected? Because contact might reveal this truth. Nyara nodded slowly. Our leaders fear contamination of their perfect system. She hesitated before adding, but the ancient texts suggest our species are not just compatible, they're complementary. Humans lack our stellar sensitivity but possess an emotional openness we've lost. The air between them seemed charged with possibility. Dominic found himself studying the delicate features of her face, the way her violet skin caught the diminishing light, the intensity of her amber gaze. The alignment has passed, Nyara said softly, but something has changed, I can feel it. The temple has recognized you recognized us and it's responding. As if confirming her words, a hidden door slid open in the far wall, revealing a chamber that had been sealed for centuries. What's in there? Dominic asked. Nyara's voice was barely a whisper. The truth, I hope. Their eyes met, and in that moment both recognized that whatever path lay ahead, they would walk it together. The hidden chamber gleamed with preserved technology far more advanced than the temple's outer rooms. Circular platforms inlaid with luminescent crystals dominated the center, surrounded by curved panels displaying constantly shifting stellar maps. This is incredible, Dominic breathed, his scientific mind struggling to comprehend the implications. This predates your great suppression. Nyara moved through the space with reverent steps. This is the chamber of cosmic union. I'd read about these but never imagined one survived. Her fingers hovered over an activation panel. These were used for diplomatic exchanges between our worlds. Between Lumisari and humans, Dominic's surprise was evident. But Earth's records show first contact was only 70 years ago. Another deception, Nyara said. Our histories were extensively rewritten after the suppression. As she touched the panel, a holographic projection filled the room, two figures, one human and one lumisari, standing together on the circular platform, their hands joined. Energy flowed visibly between them, creating patterns similar to those that had appeared on Nyara's skin during the alignment. The resonance bond, she whispered, a sharing of consciousness between our species. Dominic studied the projection with scientific fascination, a form of telepathic connection. More than telepathy, a true symbiosis. Nyara's voice softened. Our ancestors believed humans possessed an emotional depth that complemented our stellar sensitivity. Together, the bond created something greater than either could achieve alone. The projection shifted to show multiple pairs, humans and Lumisari together in what appeared to be a ritual celebration under the twin stars. This contradicts everything your government has told us, Dominic said. They've insisted on strict non-interference protocols, claiming biological incompatibility. Nyara's expression hardened. After the suppression, all evidence of human Lumisari bonds was destroyed. Those who remembered were silenced. She turned to face him. My own grandmother told me stories before she was taken for re-education. She spoke of a time when our people celebrated passion instead of fearing it. A distant rumble interrupted them, followed by the wail of sirens. The security drones, Nyara said, tension evident in her voice. The temple's reactivation must have triggered alarms in the capital. Dominic checked his communication device. My rescue team is still 6 hours out. We need to hide. They'll scan the entire area, she warned. There's nowhere to hide from their sensors. Their eyes met, a moment of silent communication passing between them. The bond, Dominic suggested hesitantly, could it help us? Nyara's amber eyes widened. It's dangerous, untested for centuries, and for you, a human with no preparation, it could be overwhelming. More dangerous than being captured by people who re-educate those who don't conform. He stepped closer to her. I trust you, Nyara. The sincerity in his green eyes touched something deep within her. In the short time since their meeting, this human had shown more understanding than her own people had in a lifetime. The platform requires the twin stars' energy, she explained, leading him to the circular dais. But residual power should remain from the alignment. They stood facing each other on the platform. Nyara removed the ceremonial bracelet from her wrist, the last symbol of her former position. This will amplify the connection, she said, breaking it in half and placing one piece in his palm. Close your hand around it and think of nothing but this moment. As their free hands joined, the platform beneath them illuminated. Warmth spread from Nyara's touch, traveling up Dominic's arm and throughout his body. Open your mind to me, she whispered. The world dissolved around them. Dominic gasped as his consciousness expanded, suddenly aware of Nyara's presence within his mind, not as an intrusion but as a gentle merging. Her memories flowed into him. Years of isolation, the pain of rejection by her people, her quiet rebellion through study of forbidden texts. In return, Nyara experienced the vibrant emotional landscape of Dominic's mind. His wonder at the universe, his passion for discovery, the loneliness that had driven him to explore distant worlds. As their minds connected more deeply, the platform's glow intensified, creating a shield of energy around them just as the temple doors burst open and armored figures rushed in. Through their joined consciousness, a single thought resonated. Together, we are invisible to them. The Lumisari security forces swept through the temple, their sensor devices pulsing with detection fields that passed harmlessly over the bonded pair. Dominic and Nyara remained perfectly still on the platform, their consciousness intertwined in a state beyond physical awareness. Within their shared mindspace, Nyara guided Dominic through the intricacies of the bond. This connection was once the foundation of both our civilizations. Her thoughts flowed into his. The twin stars catalyze something in Lumisari physiology that resonates with human emotional patterns. It feels right, Dominic responded, surprised at how natural this communion seemed. Like finding a missing piece of myself I never knew was gone. Memories continued to flow between them, his childhood gazing at stars from Earth, her secret studies of human culture, both seeking connection across the vastness of space. As their minds synchronized more deeply, the platform beneath them began to project images onto the chamber walls, ancient scenes depicting humans and Lumisari working together to build the very temple they now occupied. The first union, Nyara's thoughts explained, when our peoples discovered our complementary natures. The security forces eventually departed, finding no detectable life signs within the temple. As their presence faded, Nyara gently guided them back to physical awareness. The separation was jarring, like suddenly losing a sense they hadn't known they possessed. That was, Dominic struggled to find words adequate to describe the experience. I know, Nyara said simply, her amber eyes now containing flecks of green that mirrored his own. They studied the projected images surrounding them. The historical record their bond had somehow unlocked from the temple systems. These show a prophecy, Nyara translated, pointing to a sequence showing the twin stars in various alignments. The celestial convergence, a rare event when Vila and Myra perfectly align from specific points on our world. Dominic checked his astronomical data. That's happening in 3 days. The magnetic storm that crashed my ship, it's a precursor event. The projections shifted to show a human and Lumisari standing before a massive crystal structure, as the perfectly aligned stars shone down. The prophecy of renewal, Nyara whispered, when the false barriers would be broken and the true nature of our peoples restored. Dominic studied the images carefully. This crystal structure, it looks like it's amplifying the stellar energy somehow. The heart of Lumisar, she confirmed, a crystal formation at the planet's magnetic pole, our most sacred site now heavily guarded and restricted. Their newfound connection hummed between them, making unspoken thoughts almost tangible. Your leaders knew this was coming, Dominic realized. That's why they've become increasingly isolationist. They fear the prophecy. A union of our species threatens their control, Nyara agreed. The bond reveals the lies they've built their power upon. She approached another panel, revealing a map of underground passages. These tunnels led from the temple to the polar region. They were sealed centuries ago, but the temple recognized us, Dominic finished her thought. It's preparing the way. Their eyes met, the enormity of their discovery settling between them. The connection they'd experienced wasn't just personal, it was part of something far greater, something written in the stars themselves. If we do this, Nyara said softly, there's no going back. My people will consider it treason. Dominic took her hand, the touch now carrying echoes of their mental bond. And mine might not understand, but some truths are worth fighting for. As they studied the ancient passages that would lead them to their destiny, the residual connection from their bond allowed a glimpse of possible futures, challenges and wonders alike awaiting them along the path. The convergence waits for no one, Nyara said with newfound determination. We have 3 days to reach the heart. Dominic's rescue team forgotten, his scientific mission transformed into something far more profound, he nodded. Then we'd better get moving. The journey through the ancient tunnels tested them in ways neither had anticipated. Collapsed passages forced detours through crystal caverns where remnant stellar energy pulsed in harmony with Nyara's bioluminescent patterns. Underground rivers glowed with the same energy, their waters temporarily enhancing the bond they had shared. Though physically separated since the chamber of cosmic union, Echoes of their connection remained, shared thoughts, flashes of emotion, an awareness of each other that transcended normal perception. "We're close," Nyara announced as they emerged from a final tunnel into a vast cavern. "The heart of Lumisar lies just beyond that ridge." They crested the rise to behold a breathtaking sight, an enormous crystal formation rising from the planet's surface like a cathedral of light. Even dormant between alignments, it pulsed with subtle energy, the combined essence of Vila and Myra captured within its geometric perfection. "It's even more beautiful than the ancient texts described," Nyara whispered. Movement caught their attention, guards patrolling the perimeter, advanced surveillance drones hovering silently overhead. "The Council has doubled security," she observed. "They know what's coming." Dominic studied the patterns of the guards. "We need a distraction." Before they could formulate a plan, a familiar hum filled the air. Dominic's rescue ship appeared on the horizon, its engines glowing against the darkening sky. "Perfect timing," he said with a grin, activating his emergency beacon. The response was immediate, security forces converging on the unexpected arrival, creating the opening they needed. Hand in hand, they raced toward the heart, their steps in perfect synchronization. As they reached the base of the crystal formation, a commanding voice called out behind them. "Stellar Priestess Nyara, you are charged with heresy and contamination." They turned to face a tall Lumisari male in elaborate ceremonial robes, flanked by guards with weapons trained on them. "High Counselor Talon," Nyara acknowledged, her voice steady. "I wondered when you would appear." "Step away from the abomination," Talon ordered, gesturing toward Dominic. "He is not an abomination," Nyara replied, her hand tightening around Dominic's. "He is the catalyst, just as the prophecy foretold." Talon's expression hardened. "Prophecies are primitive superstitions. We evolved beyond such nonsense generations ago." "You suppressed our true nature," Nyara countered. "You feared what you couldn't control." The twin stars began to rise on the horizon, their light intensifying as the convergence approached. The heart crystal responded, humming with increasing power. "Our ancestors understood what you've forgotten," Dominic spoke up. "Lumisari and humans are stronger together than apart. Your evolution was actually regression, cutting yourselves off from emotions, from connection, from truth." Talon signaled his guards, "Secure them both." But as the guards approached, the heart crystal pulsed with sudden brilliance. The ground beneath them trembled as the convergence began, the twin stars perfectly aligning above the polar region for the first time in centuries. "It's time," Nyara whispered to Dominic. Without hesitation, they pressed their palms against the crystal surface. The effect was immediate and overwhelming. Energy surged through them, magnifying their earlier bond 1,000-fold. Their consciousness expanded beyond the physical, merging not just with each other but with the heart itself. Through it, they sensed the entire planet, every Lumisari citizen connected to the stellar network their ancestors had embraced. Talon fell to his knees as the wave of energy washed over him, stripping away centuries of conditioning. Around the planet, Lumisari found themselves experiencing emotions long suppressed, connections long denied. Within the heart of the energy storm, Nyara and Dominic stood transformed, their bond now permanent, their separate identities forever intertwined yet still distinct. Through their union, the true history of both species flowed into the collective consciousness of the Lumisari people. As the convergence reached its zenith, a final surge of energy expanded outward from the heart, carrying their shared revelation to the stars themselves. The barriers were broken, the truth revealed, not just to Lumisar, but to Earth as well, as Dominic's rescue ship transmitted the unprecedented energy readings across space. When the light finally faded, they stood changed, Nyara's violet skin now bearing permanent luminescent patterns, Dominic's eyes carrying the same amber glow as hers. The guards had lowered their weapons, many openly weeping as emotions long denied flooded through them. "What have you done?" Talon asked, his voice stripped of authority. "We haven't done anything," Nyara replied gently. "We've simply remembered what was always meant to be." Dominic looked up at the twin stars now returning to their normal positions. "This is just the beginning," he said, "a new chapter for both our worlds." As dawn broke over Lumisar, news of the stellar convergence spread rapidly. Ships from Earth would soon arrive, drawn by the unprecedented energy signature and Dominic's transmission. The long separation was ending, not through careful diplomacy, but through the cosmic truth written in the stars themselves. "Was this always our destiny?" Nyara asked as they stood together at the heart watching the sunrise. Dominic smiled, the connection between them humming with contentment and possibility. "I don't think destiny is something written for us," he said. "I think it's something we write together." Under the watchful gaze of the twin stars, two worlds began their journey toward reunion, not as separate species, but as complementary parts of a greater cosmic whole.